Well, welcome everybody. Anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Dan Kerr, and I have the couple of different jobs at All Souls. It's often said I wear many hats. Kind of wish I was wearing a hat the last time I went outside. We normally start on time, but in lieu of the weather, we did not start on time. And I want to thank you all. This is for making the trip here. I don't know how many arcs you passed along the way, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think we needed rain, so the good news is we got some of the rain that we needed. Just the timing of it, I think I learned long ago that you really can't get upset about the weather because there's nothing you can do about it. So, but thank you for persevering, for being here this evening. The mission of the church is something that is very near and dear, and those of you who are regulars at either the concert series, or maybe you may have heard me say it at poetry, you may have heard me say it at Native American drumming. I'm going to take one line from our mission statement. Those of you who are familiar with mission statements know that they are your reason for being, your raison d'être, the French would say. Don't worry, I'm not going to speak any more French. Why do you exist? What is it you do? And so from our mission statement, which you'll find in the booklet, you may have seen it when you came into the church. You will see it if you ever visit our website. It's pretty important to us. And we say in the mission statement, we strive to be mutually supportive of the personal spiritual journey, respecting the individuality of all, and accepting the value of meeting people wherever they are on that journey. So we believe that we are all on a spiritual journey. Now we happen to be an Episcopal church, and we recognize that, however, that in Christianity there are many branches on the tree of Christianity. We also recognize that Christianity is not the only spiritual tree in the forest, and there are people of other faiths. And many of those faiths are represented in the sacred readings here tonight. And we also recognize the reality is the recent census data, the most popular religious affiliation when they did the census, anyone know what it was? It was the nuns. And those weren't the nuns at St. Philip that trained me the first 8 years. Nuns, people who proudly say they have no religious affiliation.
Oh, no.
None. Yeah, spelled the different. So eventually Linda gets it. So okay, good. So it's none, and we believe that those people who proudly say that they're none also are on a spiritual journey. Maybe their spiritual journey is being at peace with the earth, or maybe it's being at peace with the environment. Whatever. We're all on spiritual journeys, and we pledge to meet people wherever they are on that journey, including any of you, people here today. And we meet people in a variety of different ways on that journey. For those of you who brought food, we thank you for bringing food. My wife Susan, every week or so, brings it to St. Gerard Mejia, the Roman Catholic Church in Terryville, and they feed about 200 families in this area. So there are, they tend to be invisible, but there are people who are in need of food. And so we meet people when we feed the hungry. We also meet people here at different stages, at different points of a spiritual journey. The fact that the church is open every day. And I can say that with confidence because I'm the guy, when I'm in town, who opens the door. And it's not unusual when I open those doors that there's someone waiting to come in. So we're open every day. We meet people that way. And also, we're here to serve the community. And we do 3 programs every month. Every month, we do Native American drumming with Dr. Rick Stadler. We're going to have some Native American drumming this evening. Also, we have, and it's great to see all the poets here, we do our Saturdays at 6 poetry program every month. We used to do it in the church. We now do it virtually. We do that every month. And since we've done it virtually, we've been joined by poets from England and North Carolina and other exotic places. So we do that. And we also do the concerts. Every month we do a concert. And sure enough, somebody called today and asked me, what time is the Saturdays at 6 concert? And again, I said it's at 6 o'clock. So when we reflect on the program this evening, which combines poetry, music, and Native American drumming, I'm reminded of the great wisdom of Gladys Henderson, who was, when Kathy Donnelly brought the poetry program here. Where's Kathy? I saw her somewhere. Kathy, where's Kathy Donnelly? I thought I saw her. She will be here. Okay, she brought the poetry program, so she better be here later. When she brought the poetry program to All Souls, the poet laureate of Suffolk County at that point was Gladys Henderson. And Gladys Henderson had a profound effect on me in many ways. One way, she said, Dan, you need to remember, if you want to understand poetry, poetry is but another form of prayer. So it seems very appropriate anytime we do poetry in the church. And I'm also reminded that I believe it was St. Augustine who said that singing is like praying twice. So if you're thinking we've got poetry, we've got music, it's all quite natural that it's here at the church. So we meet people through the drumming, through the concerts, and through the poetry. We also, although we do Episcopal services on Sunday, we do a morning prayer, virtual morning prayer service at 8 o'clock, and then we do a mass here at 11:15. We also, during the week, we become an interfaith center. And if you draw a 10-mile radius around All Souls, and you put in that circle of that 10-mile radius, every church, every synagogue, every mosque, every temple in the area, you will find that they've been invited to speak at our interfaith morning prayer service, and most of them have taken us up on our offer. So we meet people that way on a weekly basis. We do the interfaith morning prayer. And my wife, Susan, Susan is your bartender tonight. So that's not her only vocation. She also leads the rosary here on Wednesday. So we do a rosary every Wednesday as well. There's Kathy Donnelly coming up the stairs. So we meet people there. And we also meet people. I took the liberty, since one of the hats I wear is I'm the director of the 5K race and the 2K walk, that if you wanted that, I've been told that color is salmon. If you're trying to figure out that colored paper in the middle of your bulletin there, that's the information. There's an article on one side from the Village Times Herald which explains the history of the event and what the event is for, and then the other side is all the information if you want to register. I know we have a lot of poets in the group here tonight. One of the groups that participates every year in fact, it was started by Sharon Doyle years ago, and Barbara Southern is a regular at it as well, and Kathy always comes. We have a group of poets that actually, they don't run, they walk. It's the Live Poets Society. So we had the Live Poets Society participated in the group each year. Okay, it's a 5K race or 2K walk. The poets tend to be on the walk side, but they may surprise you. Chip, you may want to run. Okay, so that's on behalf of the folks at All Souls. I want to welcome you. I want to introduce our priest, Father Ian. You're going to wait, Father Ian. So if you have any questions, theological questions or other questions about the church, feel free to interact with Father Ian, who will be one of our readers in the second portion of the program. So we're going to have two sets, and we'll take a 15-minute break. One of the big decisions that Sue and I always have to make is do we have the reception inside or outside? I think we made the right decision tonight, and Sue put it inside. Sue, would you please point to the thank you jar? So if you would like to thank the musicians, our tradition is to give people an opportunity to thank the musicians. So if you'd like to thank the musicians, you can be generous. They came all the way from New York City, and they had to come out in this rain. They had to navigate potentially a rental car company. They ended up on the railroad. So that was a long journey for them. If you'd like to thank the musicians, that jar is available. You can do that at intermission or on the way out. Okay? And we'll get you out of here before 8 o'clock. All right. Let me talk about tonight's program. Tonight's program is different. Usually on the Saturday at 6 we do a concert. And the last concert we had is very different than this one. It was a bluegrass concert. And the concert we're going to have in October, we're going to have a soprano from the university coming to sing 29 Italian arias. So that'll be different. So we do something different when we do the concert. And tonight's program is very different. So as I mentioned, we do the Saturdays at 6 concerts, we do the poetry readings, and we do the Native American drumming. All attract different groups, different folks. And I got to tell you, Rick, the folks that come to Native American drumming are a bit different than the folks I usually see on Sunday, our traditional services on Sunday morning. So each group is a bit different in terms of their background, their demographics, and so forth. But this is the one time a year where we combine poetry, we combine music, and we combine the Native American drumming into one unique experience for the community. This program, the idea was originally conceived, many of you know her, Carmen Bugin, very well-known poet here on Long Island. In fact, she's going to be the featured poet at the second Saturday's poetry reading in October. Carmen came up with this idea about 5 years ago, and then Carmen moved. So I lost my dancing partner, but Carolyn Emerson stepped up. Carolyn, you want to wave? To thank this lady, she put together all the poems. She made this selection. Let's give her a round of applause. And who says poets are hard to work with? She collaborated with a whole bunch of people. So she collaborated with Ford Fortman, the Stony Brook University Director of Concerts. Ford, you want to give it away? Also collaborated with our Native American drummer, Dr. Rick Sadler. And coordinated, last but certainly not least, coordinated with our All Souls organist, Dan Kinney. Dan? So let's get to the program itself. We will take a 15-minute intermission. So the first set, you can follow along in the booklet, and I'm not going to tell you where to go, but there are page numbers on the bottom. I think it's in page 3. We list everybody and all the different readings and so forth. So we're going to start with the first set, and the first set we're going to start with Native American drumming and with some Native American wisdom from Dr. Rick Stadler. Then we're going to have readings by Carolyn Emerson, by Mindy Cronenberg, by former Suffolk County Poet Laureate Carmela Vinscott Warren, and then we've got Northport represented today by Linda Dickman and David Dickman. I did not deliberately, knowing their husband and wife, separate them. It just worked out that way. Okay. So they'll be our poets for the first act. So let me introduce the musicians. So Kate Armand is the trumpet player and educator based in New York City. As a performer, she's often playing the trumpet in a variety of different settings, including Broadway, classical, commercial, and more. She especially loves being involved in theatrical productions, working with composers to develop new pieces and playing chamber music. Kate teaches at my alma mater at New York University, where I got my doctorate. She teaches there as an instructor. She also maintains her own private studio and teaches master classes at schools and universities across the country. Let's formally welcome Kate. And then we've got Ford Forkhorn, and he's an award-winning clarinetist and electronic musician based in Brooklyn. As I mentioned, they came all the way out from the city. Ford strives to connect communities like this one through adventurous performances like this one, and programming bringing together the clarinet, multimedia technology. He didn't say anything about bringing the rain with you, but and his years of self-produced concert experience to bring audiences into a unique concert experience. He serves as artistic director and clarinetist of the Unheard Of Ensemble, representing multimedia concert experiences around the United States. Welcome, Ford.
And this is on page 4. Just a little short history. In the Native American culture, Christianity was introduced, others might say forced upon the Native American population, and the culture was looked to be pushed out from the Native American people. And so with some great wisdom, these 10 commandments were formed many years ago, taking some of the core principles of Native American spirituality and putting them in a way that was digestible to the Christians in the form of 10 commandments. I think that was pretty brilliant. And when we look at them and we listen to them and we think, boy, how would our world be if people actually lived by these 10 commandments or the other 10 commandments? So there's great truth there. And so I will read them, and in between each, I will use a beat of the drum, a triple beat, and then we're going to just talk about the significance of that triple beat as well after that. And you can follow along with that on the Native American 10 Commandments. Treat the earth and all that dwell thereupon with respect. Remain close to Great Spirit. Show great respect for your fellow beings. Work together for the benefit of all mankind. Give assistance and kindness wherever needed. Do what you know to be right. Look after the well-being of mind and body. Dedicate a share of your efforts for the greater good. Be truthful and honest at all times. And take full responsibility for your actions. There is a sacredness to the 3 beats, and a small error here, 3 beats per second, not per minute. I think my medical background and pulse counting and things like that threw the minute in there. But 3 beats per second is the opening level of a beat that actually raises the vibrations of the brain, the theta cells, which open us up to a more expansive receptiveness to our universe and to doorways that would not otherwise be open to us. So the 3 beats per minute is the opening of the consciousness, the expanding, the transinduction of the brain. The 3 beats per minute represent the Father, Son, Mother Earth, and Grandmother Moon. These are the first 3 Holy Spirits placed by Great Spirit, Creator, to watch over the children of the earth. And it's very interesting tonight that we have a full moon, where we have the lunar eclipse, and so we have Father Sun and Grandmother Moon shining upon and giving blessings to Mother Earth. So what a perfect night to have this here and these words. The 3 beats represent the Christian Holy Trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The 3 beats in Hinduism represent the cycles of the Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, otherwise known as creation, preservation, and destruction. The 3 beats represent the Buddhist 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, as a path to enlightenment. The 3 beats represents the tripod of body, mind, and spirit, or soul. Body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, and spirit. The 3 beats represent the trifecta of time, past, present, and future. The 3 beats reflect the stages of earthly existence: birth, life, death. And so we hear these beats tonight as a reflection and an amplification of the thoughts, the energy, the prayers, the songs, the words that we hear as an opening of our commitment to Creator and to a better life and existence here and now.
Praying by Mary Oliver. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together And don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak.
We're not going to be speaking before every piece. That way it's not poetry, speaking, playing, clapping, it's poetry, speaking, you know. We want to respect your time here, but I just want to say a couple of things. When I was selecting the pieces to sort of pair with this, we chose a mixture of some more adventurous pieces, some more straightforward pieces. I think this one in particular, to match that section, a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest but a doorway. I thought that was really fascinating for Susanna's piece because she's using only a couple of notes, but shaping the kind of colors and shapes. So with that kind of mindset, you can sort of piece together how we picked some of these other ones, whether we picked a style that fit the poetry in general, or we picked a line itself that really resonated with us. So keep that in mind as we keep going through the poetry.
The piece of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
Let us go to a realm beyond going by Mirabai, translated by Sadasiram Chaturvedi. Let us go to a realm beyond going, where death is afraid to go, where the high-flying birds alight and play, afloat in the full lake of love. There they gather the good, the true, to strengthen an inner regimen, to focus on the dark form of the Lord and refine their minds like fire. Garbed in goodness, their ankle bells, they dance the dance of contentment and deck themselves with the 16 signs of beauty and a golden crown. There where the love of the dark one comes first and everything else is last.
The Guest House by Jalal al-Din Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Paradiso Canto 30 by Dante, translated by John Ciardi. O splendor of God, by which I saw the lofty triumph of the one true kingdom, grant me the power to tell of what I saw. There is a light above that makes the Creator visible to every creature that finds its only peace seeing him. It spreads itself into so vast a circle that its circumference would be larger than the sphere that is the sun. All that is seen of it comes as a ray reflected from the summit of the primum mobile. Got it wrong. Mobile, which draws from its motion and its powers as the hillside is mirrored by the water at its foot, as if I saw itself adorned when it is lush with grass and flowers. So I saw rising above the light and all around it, mirrored in more than 1,000 years, all those of us who have returned on high. And if the lowest of its ranks encloses a light so large, how vast is the expanse containing the farthest petals of this rose. Within that breadth and height, my sight was not confused but shared the full extent and quality of that rejoicing. There, near and far do neither add nor take away, for where God, unmediated, rules, natural law has no effect.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the first half of the program. I'm going to go into intermission for a few moments. It's our tradition here, church has been here since before the Civil War in one form or another. This building's been here since 1896. So there's a lot of history here. But our tradition is to tell one story about the church in that long history. And I've asked Dan Kinney, our organist, to tell us a little bit about the triangle organ, which you're going to hear in the second part of the program. Dan, over to you.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to say a few words about Henry Urban, the builder, and also the organs placed in local history. Urban was the preeminent organ builder in the United States throughout his career, which ran from 1824 to 1884. He was building organs right up to the year he died, although one of his sons helped him out in the end. In the course of that span, he built about 1,400 organs. And his organ building was actually one of the largest mercantile industries in New York City at the time. He had a factory on Center Street and Canal Street. That was significant because that gave him access to all the waterways, and that helped him actually develop a national business and a national reputation. He was known for using the finest materials and the finest workmanship. And I think the fact that this is still playing after 171 years sort of attests to that. His factory had 45 workmen, and he managed to build about 110 organs every year. If you want to compare that to the old-fashioned way, the leading organ builder in Boston, who had a workshop and built the traditional way, turned out 49 organs during his whole career. So Urban started something new. And also, I would have to say that he put a Made in America stamp on the art of organ building. Before that, in the 18th century, nearly all the organs had to be imported from England. I hope that plays. we made the mistake of taking the manual pumping off. So it depends on electricity now. The other thing I will say is that when this organ was built, the primary purpose was accompanying hymns. And it did that very well. And in fact, the hymn that's matched with St. Francis of Assisi's Song of Creatures, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, that's contemporary with the organ. The author, it was written by Cecil Frances Alexander. She was born in Dublin in 1818. Henry Urban was born in New York City in 1800. So they're almost contemporary. She published that poem. It started out as a collection of poems in a book called Hymns for Little Children, 1848. That's pretty much around the time of the organ. It became very popular. It had a melody that was written specifically for the poem that was put in the English hymnal by Rafe Vaughan Williams, and in my English pronunciation correctly. And there's another melody that's used in the United States. She had one other big hit in that collection, Once in Royal David City. That has turned out to be the traditional processional for the King's College Festival of Lessons and Carols. What happened, though, in the mid-19th century, some of the larger churches started to change their style of worship to, I've heard it called an English cathedral style or an Anglo-Catholic style, and that required larger organs and more versatile organs, and many of the little ones disappeared. Right now, there are only about 50 urban organs in various states of preservation left. What happened here, though, is, and it was not unfamiliar with the congregation in St. James, where this organ came from originally. They knew that style of worship. Stanford and Bessie White were married in Trinity Wall Street. They lived in Gramercy Park, which that is the parish of St. Bartholomew's, which had and still has one of the finest music programs in New York. And in fact, Stanford White's Requiem took place in St. Bart's. And then a train, chartered Long Island Railroad train with 200 people, came out from New York. Among that 200 people was the vested choir of St. Bart's. In 1906, St. Bart's organist, the music director, was Leopold Stokowski. I do not know if he was on the train that day. He was not famous, so he wouldn't have merited a mention in the New York Times article. Later became a famous conductor. But it was an important enough event that the rector of St. Bart's came out and said the burial service with the rector of St. James, Archdeacon Holden. So the choir sang from the loft during the church service and then went out to the cemetery and sang Abide With Me, a very traditional funeral hymn. There are two things that I think saved this organ from going the way of the 1,350 other urban organs and put it in with some of the 50 that are still around. One, this is a chapel, so from logical thinking, if St. James was to get an organ that would be capable of accompanying a choir and doing some parts of that Anglo-Catholic service, it would have been for the church. That's a considerable expense. So you'd move that to the chapel, and it's perfect here. The other thing was that the family that donated the organ, their mother donated the organ, Sarah Smith, who was the mother of Stanford White's wife, Bessie, she donated the organ, and the family still remained in St. James. Bessie lived till 1950. There was another daughter, Ella, who I see always mentioned as Mrs. Devereaux Emmett Lane up. She could walk to this church. She was a supporter of the church in the 1890s. And of course, you would not want to hurt the family's feelings by taking the organ out. So I'm sure that helped it stay here and was not replaced by a Hammond or an electronic organ. Finally, around the 1960s, there was somebody who I do not know much about. His name was Malcolm Lomax, and he actually restored the organ. He knew how to restore historic instruments, but he also did the research to prove that this was an urban organ. And so then it went from becoming that old organ we play every Sunday to a historical artifact. And of course, in this Three Village area, there is a very big interest in local history. This church has been on the Candlelight Tour 3 times since the beginning of this century, and I was always asked to say something about the organ. So that helped. It became a historical artifact. Henry Urban, of course, is not just important for local history, but also because of his business, national history, and also New York State history. So you could say apply that to the artifactual nature of the organ too. And that would be a reason for keeping. And I will say, I'll give the congregation a plug. They do keep it. It doesn't require that much. We tune it before Christmas, and we tune it before Easter. And it pretty much behaves itself for the rest of the year.
Dan mentioned Lomax, Malcolm Lomax?
Yeah.
Malcolm Lomax not only restored this organ, in the back, I'm not going to take you all back there, in the supply room there's he wrote us a note. And he talked about how this organ had played for so many baptisms and weddings and funerals, and if the congregation would just take care of it, it ought to last another 50 years. And I believe he wrote that note in 1960. So he was a prophet as well. So. Okay, we're going to take a 15-minute intermission. During intermission, we're going to be serving, figured I would go domestic here. We're going to get a Chenin Blanc from California, and that's a Chenin Blanc, a white wine. And we've got a Shiraz from Western Australia as well. Lest you think all we do here is drink wine, we also have water for those who like myself not to have any wine this evening. There's a trash can in the back. In the back. And there is also we do not have a pretentious guy wearing a tuxedo with a triangle. Those of you who are used to that, when intermission, we do something far more impressive. We ring the bell and play with the lights, so you'll know the intermission's over. I've got my very expensive watch that I paid almost $15 for, which is, I'm going to time it for 15 minutes. And Herb, I was very careful not to introduce you right after the garbage pail. But some of you may have had a bit of a hassle getting up the steps, and some of you are going to ask me on intermission, where is the bathroom? And the answer is, I'm sorry about the steps, and there is no bathroom. You've got to go to Schnitzel's. But there is an effort underway to make this church accessible to all. In fact, that's the reason for the race. The race serves two purposes, and the walk. It celebrates the role of what we do in the community, and it also raises funds to make this church truly accessible to all. If you're interested in learning a bit more about the project, where we're at, and the plans to see Herb at intermission. Okay? John in the back there. Hey, Herb. Okay.
Hey, Dan.
Good. Good to see you. Okay. And any other questions to see Father Ian? Yes?
It just occurred to me, I wanted to point out that Mrs. Devereaux Emmett that Dan mentioned, her granddaughter still sings in the choir at St. James.
So you have to keep your family.
Yes, and she who told me that Stanford White built this place for her grandmother.
That's the legend, yeah.
She said something about, I keep telling Stanley I'm tired of traveling to St. James to go to church.
Okay, that's a great way to segue into a 15-minute break. See Sue if you'd like a beverage. See Herb or Father Ian or Dan if you have any questions or comments. So for the second set, we're going to have a new group of poets. So we're going to start. We're going to have it towards the end of the second set. We're going to have Rick Stadler again. Is going to share some Native American, actually a Native American chant, which some of you may be familiar with. And then the poets that we have who will read the poems. We've got Barbara over here, and then Father Ian and Kathy Donnelly, who brought the poetry program here. Jack Sappos, who does a lot to promote poetry in the area. The part of Marguerite Wall will be played by Susan Kirk, as Marguerite got spooked out by the weather in Nassau County. And we're fortunate to have Barbara Southern, the former poet laureate of Suffolk County, with us. And we also have Mr. Chip Williford with us as well, the current poet laureate. So the place is filled with poet laureates, Tim Carmella, and others. And we have Linda Dickman, who runs the poetry program, very successful program in the North Shore. So the place is full with poets. And we'll get our musicians, we'll have Kate and we'll have Ford with us. And during the second act, we'll have two of the musical interludes by Dan Kinney on the organ. Okay? So let's pick up with Barbara. Barbara, it's on page 10 for those of you following along.
Questions Answered from the Poetry of Zen by Li Po, 8th century. You ask why I live alone in the mountain forest. And I smile and am silent until even my soul grows quiet. The peach trees blossom. The water continues to flow. I live in the other world, one that lies beyond the human.
Song of the Creatures by St. Francis of Assisi. My good, most high, all-powerful Lord, you hold all glory, praises, honor, and every benediction. Only to you these things belong, and no man is worthy to mention you by name. I thank you for all of your creation, my Lord, especially for brother sun, for he is radiant, beautiful, splendid. He gives us daylight and warmth, bringing your love to us. I thank you for sister moon and the stars, for they are clear, precious, and beautiful there in the sky where you place them. I thank you for brother wind, for the air and clouds, for clear weather, for the snow and the rain, through whom you sustain us. I thank you for sister water, who is useful and humble, chaste and cherished. I thank you for brother fire, through whom you light my road at night, for he is beautiful, playful, robust, and strong. I thank you for Mother Earth, who governs us and nourishes us with her fruit, herbs, flowers, and every living being. I thank you for those who forgive in the name of your love, for those who bear illnesses, infirmities, and suffer through hardship. Blessed are those who endure suffering patiently, for you, my Lord, will bestow your grace upon them. Glory be to you, my Lord, for sister death corporeal, from whom no living man escapes. Forsaken are those who die in mortal sin. Blessed are those who give themselves to you, living by your holy will. For them the second death will be painless. Let us glorify, honor, and thank our Lord. Let us serve him and his creation with humility.
O highest wisdom, who circles the great circle, by Saint Hildegard of Bingen. O highest wisdom, who circles the great circle, who envisions the whole world as one living path. You have 3 wings. One soars above the sky, another moistens the ground with sweat, while a third flies everywhere at once. O wisdom, we sing your praise.
I Look for You by Solomon Ibn Gabirol. I look for you early, my rock and my refuge, offering you worship morning and night. Before your vastness, I come confused and afraid, for you see the thoughts of my heart. What could the heart and tongue compose, or spirit's strength within me to suit you? But song soothes, and so I'll give praise to your being as long as your breath in me moves.
We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use.
Different Ways to Pray by Naomi Shihab Nye. It was the method of kneeling, a fine method if you lived in a country where stones were smooth. The women dreamed wistfully of bleached courtyards, hidden corners where need fit rock. Their prayers were weathered rib bones, small calcium words uttered in sequence, as if the shedding of syllables would somehow fuse them to the sky. There were the men who had been shepherds so long they walked like sheep. Under the olive trees they raised their arms. Hear us, we have pain on earth. We have so much pain there is no place to store it. but the olives bobbed peacefully in fragrant buckets of vinegar and thyme. All night the men ate heartily, flatbread and white cheese, and were happy in spite of the pain, because there was also happiness. Some prized the pilgrimage, wrapping themselves in new white linen to ride buses across miles of vacant sand. When they arrived at Mecca, they would circle the holy places on foot many times. They would bend to kiss the earth and return, their lean faces housing mystery. While for certain cousins and grandmothers, the pilgrimage occurred daily, lugging water from the spring or balancing the baskets of grapes. These were the ones present at births, humming quietly to perspiring mothers, the ones stitching intricate needlework into children's dresses, forgetting how easily children soil clothes. There were those who didn't care about praying, the young ones, the ones who had been to America. They told the old ones, "You are wasting your time." Time? The old ones prayed for the young ones. They prayed for Allah to mend their brains, for the twig, the round moon, to speak suddenly in a commanding tone. And occasionally there would be one who did none of this. The old man Fauzi, for example. Fauzi, the fool, who beat everyone at dominoes, insisted he spoke with God as he spoke with goats, and was famous for his laugh.
we get to close with Raising the Energy. This song is such a traditional song and a very powerful song with a strong message. And it always is such a joy, because as I sit up there and I look at the writing, you see what it says there? Holy, holy, holy. So this song just fits so well with what we're doing here tonight. And what we'll do is, in the traditional ways of call and response, and we'll do it 3 different ways. The first set, your line will be the heya, heya, heya. The second time, we're going to do it where it's all darkened, all together, and then we're going to do a closing call and response. All right? And the words are very simple. By the time we get down to doing it together, you'll have a feel for it. Where I stand is holy, holy is the ground. Mountain, forest, ocean, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circle all around. Okay, together. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Where I sing is holy, holy is the ground. Mountain, forest, river, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Where I dance is holy, holy is the ground. Mountain, forest, ocean, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Where I pray is holy, holy is the ground. Mountain, forest, river, listen to the sound. Great Spirit circles all around. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. All together now. Who I am is holy, holy are we. Body, thought, and motion connecting you and me. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. What I do is holy, holy is my way. Work and play together, celebrate the day. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Where I sit is holy, holy is the ground. Mountain, forest, river, listen to the sound. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. All right, you'll repeat after me. Where I sit is holy. Where I sit is holy. Who I am is holy. Who I am is holy. What I do is holy. What I do is holy. Great Spirit circles all around.
circles all around me.
Holy is the ground,
Holy is the ground,
mountain, forest, river.
mountain, forest, river.
Listen to the sound.
Listen to the sound.
Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. All of us. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. And some closing thoughts based on some of the intermission conversations and what just came to me. For those of us who remember the 60s and the protest songs and all those songs, there was something called the zipper song, where you changed one line in the song and you kind of just kept going with it. Do we realize that this is a Native American zipper song that was around before the 60s? So it's not something that was created just by the protest movement. And the concept of the words, listen to the sound. Some conversations earlier about talking sticks and connecting with the biodiversity, be it marine or with forest or whatever. You know, one of the greatest things about the talking stick is not the talking, but the listening. The role when somebody has that stick is to speak, but it's everybody else's role to listen fully, to listen with intention, not thinking about what they want to say next or what, it's listening. And that's something for our world if we listen more, not only to the people, but to the plants, to the animals, to the rock people, to the plant people, that listening. And that's what is meant so deeply when it said, listen to the sound, listen to our environment. It will speak to us. It will teach us if we're willing to listen. So I think that tonight, the Lord, Great Spirit, has heard our prayers. She listens as well.
For just a couple of questions. And then I'd like to ask, and this is always difficult because people always want to talk afterwards. I'd like, after we conclude, that all the people who read and performed form up here on the altar for one shot that Sue will orchestrate. And it's best to just do what she says. If she says move, just move. Okay, so let's throw it open to questions. Anyone have any questions? Any of the musicians or any readers? Yes, Linda.
I would like to know how you discovered the neon tango to work with that last piece.
That's a good question. Okay, it's a little biased in me. I did it more for the poet than the poetry itself in this case, so this is me cheating a little bit. So Naomi Nye is actually a San Antonio-based artist, and really incredible. And I wanted to pick our best piece to go in because I wanted it with something that did her justice. So that's why it's a little less poetry based. The other ones are a little bit more direct or a little bit more literal to the poetry, but yeah, that's why.
I heard her speak at Columbia when she did a reunion for all the teachers, Writers College, and I thought you captured her beautifully with that piece of music. I just thought you did a great job. So that's all.
Other questions, comments? Yeah, Camille.
I just wanted to say this is a beautiful program that you put together, and I love the variety of poems that we read today.
Well, all that credit goes to Carolyn. Where's Carolyn? There we go. Carolyn put together all the poetry. She made the selections, and then all the musicians all collaborated with her to put the music in. So the credit, thank you, really belongs to the folks.
And
Thank
who matched up the poet to the poem?
We collaborated on that.
Nice.
If we met your expectation, that's great. If we didn't, I apologize. Okay, any other questions or comments? Yes. Liz.
I just want to thank you so much for your playing. Such synergy of sound. Just cocktails. And I wonder, like, do you have a repertoire of these songs? Do you know them already, or do you have to practice together?
Well, we've been playing for 7 years together, so.
Some of these pieces we took on tour this summer to Thailand, so we rehearsed them a lot before that. And then some of them are slightly newer. We did some last minute swaps of like figuring out based on the poems, like what different choices from our usual repertoire would be better here. So some of it is like very, very familiar to us for years, and some of it is like big-year-olds.
So,
I just want to thank Rick for the easy lyrics he gave us to sing.
So you had a question about?
I would just like to thank Dan Kinney. Every time you give a master class, I learn something else about this organ that I've been staring at for 30 years. And I just love I could hear the passion in your voice for it, and I thank you.
Okay, we promised to get you out by 8, so if you have any other questions, we can deal with them. Oh, go ahead, Carol.
I just want to thank Dan for putting this together.
Act of love to you. Thank you.
This is
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed it. You appreciate the way I spelled September.
Yeah.
Okay. Comes a couple of announcements just quickly. Upcoming concerts. So I told you the concert is different every month. So to show that is true, October 11th, to change the date, October 11th, because originally we had it the 4th, and that's the day before the big race, that what we do. So October 11th, we're going to have Heidi Schneider, who's performed here several times, a doctoral graduate again of Stony Brook University. She's a wonderful, talented soprano, and she's going to be singing in honor of Italian Heritage Month, which is October. She's going to be singing, I think it's 29 different Italian arias. So that should be interesting. And on November 1st, we've got a gentleman from Columbia, the country, not the university. Francisco Roldan has performed here a number of times, so he does music of Colombia and other countries in South America. He'll be here on November 1st. And then there are certain concerts we do each year. So every year we do this concert, and with Carolyn's efforts, and with Ford and with Rick and with Dan, we change the music and the poems. We do this program every year. On December 6th, we've got our annual Lessons in Carols concert. So we always do that the first Saturday in December. And those of you unfamiliar with Lessons in Carols, what we do is we tell the story of the Nativity for readings of Scripture. And the Scripture readings, you mentioned that 10-mile radius around All Souls. So we reach out to all the Christian churches and we ask them if they would like to do one of the readings. So we get 15 different churches. The readings are short. 15 different churches, yes, 15 different ones to work with us. And they do the readings. And then there are musical interludes after each reading, similar to what you saw tonight. We have actually 3 groups. We have our local, what should I call them, folk group? The local folk group that sings each Sunday called Brave Trio, which is Bill and Nancy Clark and Sue Kerr. They sing. Dan Kinney does some on the organ. And then we have Heidi back, who's a wonderful soprano. And we actually have 2 ringers from St. James Roman Catholic Church in Setauket. The director of their music program and her daughter coming in. They're fabulous. So that's December. So October 11th is Heidi Schneider's Songs of Italy. November 1st is Francisco Roldan, music from South America, guitar, and then Lessons in Carols December 7th. So we hope to see you again. Thank you for coming. Get all the people quickly for the